Paul reporting from Carnarvon. Carnarvon Nightly News. Morning, Paul from Carnarvon here, up here in the Gascoyne, in the midwest/northwest of Western Australia. It's Sunday the 8th of February and it is the day before apparently Carnarvon is going to get a serious touch up with a Cyclone Mitchell, which is going to cross Onslow and or further south to Exmouth in the Exmouth Gulf sometime this afternoon, depending on which model you look at and depending on which platform you look at. It's changing all the time.
Late on Saturday evening, Tropical Cyclone Mitchell intensified to severe Category 3 strength. And today, on Sunday, the severe tropical cyclone is likely to reach and cross the western Pilbara coastline. We can start by looking at our satellite imagery from the last 12 hours, and we can see clear as day the tropical cyclone revolving through the satellite image here off the northwestern coast of the country, getting very close to Western Australia, but it hasn't yet moved on to Western Australia, and we can actually get an even stronger confidence of the position of the tropical cyclone by looking at our radar imagery, because we see these bands of heavy rain shown in the yellow spinning around the centre of the tropical cyclone, and through the night last night it has moved close to Carnarvon.
Yeah, so it's our first experience and we've taken it upon ourselves to treat it as if the cyclone was going to cross Carnarvon. It's just been lifted, or this morning it got lifted to a Category 3. So what that means is fairly strong winds, north of 120 kilometres an hour, up to 170 kilometres an hour I think it is. And there's anywhere from 150 to 200 mils of rain expected depending on where you are. I think Onslow is going to get belted.
Let's take a slightly closer look at where we expect the tropical cyclone to reach and cross the coastline later on today. It's likely to be quite late in the day on Sunday, potentially the evening hours by the time this tropical cyclone does reach the coast. If we zoom in on the possible trajectory, we'll see this Category 3 likely to reach the coastline somewhere between Exmouth and Onslow, potentially just over the peninsula. We may then see on Monday morning it just spits back out into the water for a while before curving more towards the southeast and coming back on land somewhere near Carnarvon.
If it crosses Onslow and then heads further east, once it goes through the Exmouth Gulf, it's going to drop an awful lot of rain in the catchment area, which feeds the Gascoyne River. So there's a rumour, or there's a local chat around town that Carnarvon may very well see the Carnarvon Gascoyne River run within a week or two, within a week anyway. So yeah, it's been a pretty interesting, for what it's worth, it's been a very interesting couple of weeks here in Carnarvon, and two words that spring to mind is brutal and challenging. We were under no illusion when we moved to Carnarvon and made the decision that this time of year it gets bloody hot and it gets bloody windy. So I'm going to say a week ago we had 3 days north of 45 degrees in a row, and one of those was actually 49 degrees, and I think it was the hottest place on earth on that particular day. Don't quote me on that, but it's pretty bloody close. It was hot. So what that meant to the growers around Carnarvon was a bit of a disaster, to the tune of $1.7 million worth of damage got done to both bananas, mangoes predominantly. That was the main products that were damaged. Mangoes just falling off trees. Bananas apparently exploding because of the heat. I don't know how true that is, but anyway, I did hear one particular farmer lost up to 20 acres, I think. $1.7 million is a lot of money, and following that we had another 7 days of north of 35 degrees. So yeah, she's been pretty warm. It's worth noting that we've had no rain here since August. So not just Carnarvon, the surrounding areas, the Gascoyne, even up in the Pilbara, it's like a bloody desert. And I guess everybody's on notice, because if this cyclone intensifies, hypothetically to a category 4, or sucks up more water from the ocean, and I don't really understand how cyclones work, but hypothetically we get more rain than what they're forecasting, there's a very good chance for a flood. There's a very good chance for a flood, not just the Gascoyne River running, what they call a river, but there's also a chance of a flood because the ground is rock hard because it's had no rain for such a long time. Yeah, so that's a risk. In fact, at one stage last week, we had 4 warnings. We had a cyclone warning, we had a heat wave warning, we had a flood warning, and there was another warning. I can't remember what it was. We had a fire warning. So, because by G's it's been dry and by G's it's been hot. But the season, as it's called, is not too far away, which we are very much looking forward to. Come March, April through to September, October. The winds die down, the temperature dies down, lots of good boating conditions, lots of just existing and holidaying conditions and enjoying what the Gascoyne's got to offer. Anywho, so it's as I mentioned, it's Sunday the 8th. We're expecting the rain to start to get here this afternoon. So what I've got to do is finalise our preparations in the event that the cyclone does change its mind and head closer to Carnarvon. At this stage, they're saying you definitely need to prepare your properties for strong winds north of 90 to 100 kilometres an hour, because we are on the peripheral, if that's the word, of on the western southwestern side of the way the cyclone is going to come inland. So we've got to get our property ready, which includes a number of things, and also being prepared. So as far as preparation goes, we need to have water available, because it has happened before where the town has not had any water. So to prepare for that, we have some drinking water. Yes, we've got 30 litres in our dust-proof room, and we've also got 30 litres of fresh drinking water up at the house. You've also got to think about water to clean yourself and bathe and all the rest of it. So I have a couple of IBCs which I'm going to fill up today. So I'll fill these up with water from Gascoyne Water, which is potable water. $1.50 for 1,000 litres. So those 2 containers will cost me $3, and then I'll back the trailer into the shed. It was also strongly suggested that, well, you've got an outdoor bath, it'd be a good idea to fill your bath up with water as well. So that's, we think, our water covered. About 3 months ago, we bought a generator in preparation in the event we lose our power, because again, it's not uncommon during cyclones and floods or whatever that you lose power. So I went and bought myself a little Honda generator. Interesting thing, when we bought this property, we didn't take much notice at the time, but it actually has gutters on the inside of the patio, which I'll show you in a sec, because the roof runs downwards into the patio, so we need a gutter to run the water that catches away. So now that's not common for up this way, especially if you're in cyclone prone areas, because when it rains it just runs off the roof and down around your house. So we've got this, I think the old farmers called it a baffle system. So we've got this set up on every corner. It runs down and it's connected under the house. Every downpipe is connected to that one particular line there. and that's where the rainwater is going to come out. However, when we did a renovation, we needed to adjust the way the downpipe system was set up so that the two roofs actually run into the one downpipe pop. Now, talking to a plumber, he said you got a 50% chance that that's going to work, and that's what I mean by this. We've got the top roof, and then we've got the which is like a patio roof, and then we got the donga roof. Well, that's actually the west wing roof, and you can see that the downpipe runs into the gutter, that runs down into a downpipe, into, this is the back of the house, which runs into a baffle system. Now, all things being equal, what we've done is going to take the amount of water that we are expecting. However, if we get a really, really heavy downpour, like let's say we get 30 mils in half an hour or whatever the case, we don't think the gutters and the downpipes are gonna cut it. So I'm going to have to prepare today in the event that the gutters overflow. I'm going to have to prepare to cut with the cameras pointing, put an elbow, and then run a bit of stormwater out here, and do the same thing on this side. So you can see, so that setup's on every corner. So I need to prepare for cutting that particular downpipe or stormwater pipe on the bottom of the downpipe, and then running it out here onto the lawn. And then the back of the house will not be connected to the front baffle or to the baffle in the front. We'll just work from there. So that's a bit of preparation for the stormwater I've got to do this afternoon. Got a couple of shade sails I need to take down this afternoon. That's one. And it's all it's all precautionary. You chat to some locals here, and I'm going to use the word complacent. Might be the wrong word, but some locals are going, don't worry about it. We get this warning all the time. But as this is our first experience, we would rather cover all bases and be prepared, hypothetically, or in the event. So I'm going to pull down this shade sail, which covers up our solar. So I'm going to pull that down off this afternoon. So I've got a few chores to do today. So when the rain comes and the water comes out of this front single outlet, which is the one outlet to the baffle system, what you're seeing here is a very dry front grassed area or front yard. This will be full of water. This will be full of water either way, because it sort of falls into a hole. And the hole here is about, I'm going to say, about 60 centimetres at its lowest point. So in the middle of preparing for this afternoon's cyclone, or the onslaught of the rain in preparation for the cyclone, we've been greeted by cicadas. So if I just be quiet for a minute, you can hear them. And they're up in this tree. Now, interestingly enough, I actually met a grower, a guy called Dudley, I can't think of his last name, a couple of weeks ago, and we were chatting about how dry it is and all the rest of it, and he said no sign of cicadas yet means no sign of rain. Anyway, we've been hearing cicadas for the last week, and here we are. They are in full song, and they reckon we're 4 or 5 hours before the rain starts here in Carnarvon. The wind's just starting to pick up. It's probably 10 to 15 knots from the east. It was dead calm about an hour ago. I've got to tell you, it's bloody hot. I've just finished loading up our new rainwater tank with 1,000 litres from the IBC. So that's now got a ton of water in it. One part of the preparation. Now I'm just going to go back and fill up an IBC, as I mentioned before, just to store in the shed. In the event that we do need some water, if the water gets cut off for any particular reason. Yeah, so interesting couple of 3 hours. Have I said it's hot? One of the benefits, I suppose, being connected to the Carnarvon growers and or the network of the Gascoyne River is there's a company called Gascoyne Water, and Gascoyne Water is a co-op that actually belongs to all the growers here in Carnarvon, with which is about 170 back of the envelope growers here in Carnarvon that all use Gascoyne Water, which is bought from about 38 different bores around the area. And there's one here where we as locals can actually buy water for $1.50 for 1,000 litres. So that IBC is 1,000 litres. So I'm just filling it just in case. I filled the tank. I filled our rainwater tank. So that's now got a ton of water in it, just in case we get some wind, strong wind. And now this IBC is just in case we need water, or the town gets shut off with the town water supply, because this is Gascoyne water. This is not for drink. It's only potable. It's only for gardens and stuff like that. You can't drink it. Yeah, so not a bad little benefit, and it's going to just good little insurance policy, I suppose you could say. Okay, bit of an update here. Cyclone Mitchell, Carnarvon. It's really weird. It's 1:30. It's still bloody hot. The wind hasn't changed direction yet, so it's still coming from the east/northeast. We've got some sultry clouds building up, but it's really weird. We're just inside with the air conditioner on, bunkered down in the kitchen living area, waiting for rain. And we know it's here. We know it's on its way, and we're continually getting the updates from different platforms as far as the cyclone's progress and how it's going to affect different parts of the Gascoyne. They're talking, about half an hour ago, one of the platforms said that it's probably going to hit Exmouth as a Category 2, and then by the time it gets down to us here, it'll be Category 1, which is, it's still a bloody cyclone, so, you know, but that can change, right? So I'll keep you posted. Afternoon, 4:10 in the afternoon, and the rain is just getting here now. Our friends in Exmouth have been getting a fair bit of rain the last 3 or 4 hours. It looks like the beginning of the band is just starting, as you can see, and as we can feel. So we are going to, wrongly or rightly, have a beer to celebrate, because it's been such a long time since we've actually had any rain. We'll keep you posted. Hey, Captain's log. It's now 5:45 on Sunday evening. We did get a few spots of rain, but then not much really eventuated from it. However, it's seriously on its way. The wind has changed, and it's swung around to the southeast. So we reckon the rain's imminent. Not that we're expecting that much tonight, but tomorrow about lunchtime, which will be the Monday. The Monday is when the cyclone is going to cross Carnarvon, and they're saying that there's still a chance that we're going to get a Category 2. It's been downgraded now to a Category 2, and a couple of hours ago they were saying that by the time it got to Carnarvon it'll be down to a Category 1, but the eye of the cyclone is still lined up to cross Carnarvon. So, all things being equal, it will be a Category 1 by the time it gets here lunchtime tomorrow. But there's a very, very, very good chance that it's going to be a Category 2. I'm hoping you can see by the clouds behind me that it's getting quite stormy. We're talking, you can feel it. You can feel that it's going to rain a lot very soon. Okay, it's 6:30. Here she comes. Wind's picked up. Birds are going nuts. Dusty as balls. Just need some rain now. Won't be long. Good morning. It's Monday. It's 6:45 in the morning, and it's the night after or it's the morning after, I should say, after our first night of the incoming cyclone. We had a bit of rain last night, hardly any wind, as it's still tracking. The cyclone's still tracking down, but the latest update is that it'll be here about lunchtime, and then this afternoon it gets very, very windy. They're still talking either a very, very strong category 1 or a very weak category 2, which means in English still about 100 km/h winds, and they're still talking anywhere from 50 to 150 millimeters of rain, depending on where you are, and they're sort of saying there's a very good chance that we're going to get some high tides at the same time. So those on the coast are going to get a bit of action. But we got 6.5 mil worth of rain last night, so I'm going to leave that in there and see how much we end up with. Made a massive difference to our block. Everything smells amazing. Okay, quick update. So it is 20 to 11. It's 20 to 11, and the rain's fairly consistent as far as coming through in squalls. However, we're an hour and a half away. They're saying that we should get the brunt of the cyclone just after 12. And if you have a look at the latest update on Woolly Weather, you can see that Carnarvon is smack in line. As this cyclone turns clockwise, it'll come down over Carnarvon and then down towards Shark Bay. So keep you posted. Not a lot really happening. The wind is about, let's have a look at what the wind's doing. Okay, so the wind is about 20 odd knots, and it's going to be reaching 40 knots. 40 knots at 6 o'clock this afternoon or evening. So it's a gradual incline, and then we've got the eye of the storm, and then we're talking tonight at about 9 o'clock she gets up to 40 knots. So the day's progressing. Well, that was a nice little squall that we just had. It's dropped a bit of rain on us. Downpipes are working nicely. Nice, Gary. Yeah. Farmer's baffle system's working nicely. We'll go and see how much rain we've had so far since the front's been coming through. And I've got to go and double check the shed anyway, so yeah, kind of interesting. Looks like we're in for a wet and a windy afternoon, because we're only probably a third of the way through the the trajectory of the event, so to speak. Okay, so this morning we had 6.5 mil in the rain gauge. So now we've just had some more. So we're now looking at, I'm going to say that is, oh, we're probably up to 15 mil in total now. Yep, that's 15 mil. All right, so they're expecting a bit more than 15 mil. They're saying it could be north of 30, south of 120. So just got to double check the shed, make sure there's no water ingress in here. You're not going to see that, but that's okay. No, that's all good. We've got a bit of water collecting at a low point there in our note to self, Paulie. Going to have to do something there, maybe put a soak well or lift that up a bit. I think we're faring okay. 11:30. All's good in Carnarvon town. So a mate of mine from Perth says, yeah, but really how strong is it? And I go, I think it's pretty strong. And he says to me, I challenge you to go out there, stand amongst it, be brave. Go crazy. Be careful on your I'm not sure there was nothing flying around, well that I could see. Pretty serious out here, hey? Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I reckon we're still about half an hour away from the eye, and then it'll go quiet, it'll come up again, but the cyclone's definitely almost past Carnarvon for what it's worth. Yeah, so I think we're at the end of the worst of it. The power is insane. We've had gusts of up to 50 knots. Yeah, pretty cool. I'm going in.
Yeah, just go save my bloody tree.
I'm going in.
Oh my god, look. Holy mother. This is not even funny anymore. This is up. Everywhere. Ow. Go, PP! Oh, I love this tree too. So we have to cut this off in the storm so it doesn't take the rest of the tree out because it's so heavy. Oh.
Yeah, so she's picked up the not as much rain as we would have liked or was expecting, but the wind's up to 25 to 35 knots at the moment. It's 2:45 in the afternoon. We've just been given an update. They're saying 5 o'clock we're probably going to see a few strong winds, but it depends on which platform you look at. Yeah, it's all over the place. We're not really, to be honest, we're not really sure what time the eye's going to be. You get the idea. So it's not really our first casualty, but they're going down like 9 pins. We've got a few casualties in the back as well. Okay, 5:10, and we're just starting to head towards the eye, so it's definitely come off. Just before, I thought I'd quickly just do a bit of footage on our damage so far. I think this is about the guts of it. So we've lost 3 big banana trees. Our avocado actually got hammered yesterday, and we ended up with about 30 odd avocados. That's the remnants of the front trees. Yeah, so we lost one of those branches you saw at the back, 2 of them from off that tree. A bit devo about this one. And that's going to change the elevation of the house. And our masterpiece in the middle has had a bit of a haircut. So we're about to go on the eye, and that's going to calm down. And then apparently it's got one last little puff. I reckon that'll be it for tonight. We're about to have an early dinner, I think, so whew, what a journey. Talk tomorrow. Bye for now. Yeah, good morning. It's 6:30 a.m. on Tuesday after Mitchell's gone through. Yeah, so now it's just a case of assessing the damage. It's predominantly just trees, bananas. Took a bit of a battering yesterday. So we're going to be doing a fair bit of cleaning up today. A little bit disappointing as far as the amount of rainfall that we got. We're talking 19 mil. Yet other parts of the Gascoyne, including Coral Bay, got 50 mil. Coral Bay got 50 mil. Led to believe Denham is upwards of 80 mil. And yeah, so out of the cyclone that came through, to be honest, we were happy with a category 1. We had a max speed of 107 kilometres, which is still strong enough. Some of those squalls that came through yesterday were a bit how you going. But yeah, we were looking forward to a bit more rain. So it'll be a full day, I think, around our block, cleaning up after Cyclone Mitchell, our first cyclone. We've come through relatively unscathed, no damage to the house. A bit of an interesting evening actually. So it sort of wind picked up about 10 o'clock again last night. So I dare say that's the other side of the eye. And the winds were quite strong. I was still awake, on and off, at about 2 o'clock before it really started to really abate. Yeah, so anyway, that's enough about Cyclone Mitchell. Till the next one. Bye for now.
you.